Yeah, so you might be able to tell from the accent, grew up in the UK, so I grew up with
No idea.
Eurovision. And you described yourself at the beginning of the commentary today as like, a crazy super fan. So how did you first get into it? Because you grew up in the US, didn't you? So how
Yes.
did you come to, get to know about it all?
Well, I have had the luxury of traveling all over the world from a really young age. I mean, the first place I ever went in my life was Slovenia. I grew up in a town in Pennsylvania with one traffic light, surrounded by Amish farms. Buggies are a common occurrence, So I come from very small town America, but part of being an American to me has always been appreciating the world around you and realizing that I live in a country that's made up of immigrants and trying to find the best in the rest of the world and appreciating it and learning from it. And, I love language and I love travel. And I realize that I've been very blessed in the amount of the world that I've been able to see and to see it for as long as I have. But Eurovision really was always on my radar. And I finally started paying attention to it in like 2006 when my friend Yevgeny Plushenko, who is the Olympic champion in figure skating, when he was competing with Dima Bilan. And I watched the show and I was just, forget that. I was just enthralled by the performances. And then I did a deep dive on YouTube, found all my old favorites, figured it all out. And I've just been a hardcore fan ever since.
And talking about your old favorites, are there a couple that really stand out, whether it's because of the looks or the music or a combination or just like the kookiness?
I mean, Verka Serduchka of Ukraine is, I guess it's not really that old, but it's a performance that I love and I will just watch for fun sometimes. And I'm preparing for a tour right now in Japan. I leave the week after next, skating. And before the pandemic, I'd actually prepared a program combining Virka dancing Lasha Tumbai with Maruf, who was supposed to compete for Ukraine and then stepped back because it was that year where Ukraine was making the artists pay for themselves to go or something like that. But I'm super happy that I made that performance. It's timely and it's my little way of giving my message of solidarity with Ukraine right now and bringing Ukrainian music around the world with me. But yeah, I mean, Eurovision just has bangers. It's got songs you never even realized were in Eurovision. And to be an American fan of Eurovision, it makes me feel, just very special. It's a solid community of people that are just as crazy as I am. And I'm not on the blogs and things like that because I barely can use my iPhone. But Eurovision is a constant source of inspiration for me, and I look forward to this time of year every year just because of Eurovision.
And I been looking at some of the contestants this year. I mean, one of them is like, the yellow wolves with the kind of banana backup dancers.
Norway.
That's kind of a crazy one. The green song with the word that gets bleeped at the beginning and everything.
Yeah.
Which are the ones that, people should really look out for this year, do you think?
Well, semifinal one has happened. So I was really surprised by my love for Lithuania. I, of course, had watched all the videos in preparation. I know a lot of the songs and I listen to the songs. So they're familiar to me, but just to listen to the Lithuanian language, it's not something that I just ride around and do. But when I saw Monica Liu perform for Lithuania today, I was just so enthralled and just taken away by her and loved it. Also, the Netherlands from today really blew me away. Again, singing all in Dutch with lots of ch's. And again, I was just like on my back, heels pointed to Jesus, just ready to just like accept everything from the Netherlands today. Italy is a big showstopper for me. It's Mahmoud and Blanco, who are two of my favorite artists on their own, and they're going to be performing together. It's a very heartfelt, tender, lovely, like gently tender kiss of eroticism for me, just because I love both of them so much. Beautiful men. But I think the most poignant thing that will come out of this Eurovision is the world standing up for Ukraine and Europe and Australia standing up for Ukraine. The song is great, their performance is great, their celebration of tradition and folk music, folk instruments. It's going to make that performance really, really special and stand out. And they're earning this Eurovision title. And I think watching the amount of 12 points come in for them is going to be, a major message of support for Ukraine. And that is so helpful. If that's all we can do from the outside looking in, I think that's our place. We have to support Ukraine right now.
Yeah, and as you say, it's a great song as well, and fun, and a great performance and everything. And oh, and in terms of the LGBTQ entries, are there any that sort of stand out to you in terms of either the performers themselves, kind of openly LGBTQ, or just their, camp and have that appeal?
Well, something that I love about Eurovision is that it is so camp and over the top, and there are touches of drag here and there. There are those long runs that every drag queen has ever wanted to lip sync to, So I feel like the Eurovision Song Contest is inherently pretty gay. It's a big pride festival of uniqueness and bravery, and all of those things come through from all of the artists. So not even just saying like, oh, that's the gay artist, or that's a lesbian artist, or that's a group of transgendered artists, whatever it might be. I think that the inclusivity that the competition shows is what makes it so special. So no matter what your background is, how you identify, whatever it is, you can enjoy the art of this show. I'm trying to think of who probably is the most camp. I mean, Norway is super mysterious with their banana outfits, no faces. Their names just Keith and Jim. There's a little bit of homoeroticism in their lyrics about loving each other.
And the Australian. Oh, sorry. What were you going to say? Sorry.
No, lots of talk of bananas. I mean,
yes.
Norway is probably the gayest number of the contest.
There's the Australian entry as well is it's quite powerful, isn't it? It's quite I saw one performance that was quite emotional.
Yes, and he wears a mask for the performance, then takes it off because he realized his whole early life he was hiding from people, either due to his sexuality or a syndrome he was born with, and he was always hiding. And then he takes the mask off at the end of the performance, and I think it's a wonderful message. Sheldon, sorry, it's just a week for me to learn everything about everybody, so I'm like, okay, talking at the same time as trying to remember everybody's names. But Sheldon from Australia, I mean, his performance is so strong and brave, and such a beautiful message to people that might be struggling around the world with their identity, what they believe in, and where they're going, and not wearing a mask for the rest of the world and being proud of who you are.
Yes.
That's a great message.
Yeah, and it is always nice to see, as you say, about it being very inclusive. Lots of rainbow, it's all sorts of flags in the audience. But there are lots of rainbow flags, which is always nice to see, and especially even if it's just that, going to countries where there's probably quite little LGBTQ programming, on their TV. So.
I mean, that's something that's so interesting about this contest, is that you will see from countries that are less progressive, you'll see votes for Conchita Wurst from Austria years ago. Man in a beard that was in full drag, full regalia, and you'd see votes coming in from Russia or Serbia, or places that are less progressive than Western Europe. And I think that culturally, it's important that these people are shown in those countries and are a part of the conversation, because it gives those people that are turned away from leading an authentic life, it gives them hope. It gives them something to look for. And again, as an entertainer, it can be so hard to say like just the support, just the performance, just the visibility is if that's all you can do. But it is so important to see someone like you up there. I just watched Heartstopper on Netflix on the flight out here, and I'm always late to the game for everything. I get so caught up in vacuuming and Windexing tchotchkes in my house that I just don't sit down and watch a lot of TV. But when I'm on a plane, I've got time. And I cried for every episode. It was a program that I just felt like was so necessary. I wish I'd grown up in that time where they could show a gay love story that was tender and caring and heartfelt. And while I was growing up, I'm 37 now, but while I was growing up, it was very much really over dramatized caricatures of gay men that were in all the shows, or it was the fear factor of very real things to the community, like AIDS, drug abuse, just clubbing all the time, toxic sexuality, whatever it may have been. That was what I saw on TV. And I was just, as a young person preparing, just like, well, I'm going to go clubbing. That's what my life is going to be. So, representation is such a strong statement. It's taken me a long time to really realize that as an entertainer myself and somebody that is in the public eye. It's so much more important to me now than it ever has been. And I hope that I keep growing in that same way.
Yeah. Well, just finally, like I was saying at the beginning, you know, I grew up in the UK, and you know, one of the reasons that people really enjoy well, some people enjoy watching it, have enjoyed watching it over the years in the UK, is the quite sort of snarky commentary. It was Terry Wogan did it for decades, and then and Graham Norton has kind of continued that. And I wonder if you'd sort of heard any of that, sort of what you made of that, and what sort of tone you want to strike with your, you know, commentary.
For sure. I mean, I get called snarky constantly when I'm doing my figure skating coverage, but I am an expert at figure skating, and I'm basically just telling you the truth of what just happened. So I get called snarky a lot. That's something I'm used to, and I really don't pay that much attention to comment sections or anything like that. But you know, as a Eurovision fan, I'm aware of a lot of the different hosts from around the world, and I love Graham Norton, and I know he gets in there and gets snarky with the people. I I am in no position to make fun of anybody that I'm watching. I will have asides like um, today, for example, Switzerland, Marius Bear, he missed a note, and it was very obvious that he missed a note. So I mentioned that he missed a note. And you know what? Even though it's all for fun and games, we still believe as the audience that we're judging a singing contest, and he missed a note. So, you know, I definitely try to bring positivity everywhere I go. I lead a very blessed life that I'm so thankful for, and that I've just really fallen into in so many ways, that I've got nothing in my heart but joy and admiration for people that can get out there and be brave and perform for the whole world in the biggest, most watched event outside of the sporting world, all over the. I mean, it's insane the bravery that it takes to get up there for these people. So who am I to pick them apart? I want to be there, cheer them on, support them, and that's where I'm coming at it from. And I'm going to wear crazy outfits.
Yes, good. I'm looking forward to your finale outfit. I mean, yeah,
Yes.
it is like it's a gay Super Bowl, isn't it? Really, and
It really is.
I'm glad that. Thank you to you for doing the commentary and for Peacock for bringing it to the US, because some years it's been hard to find it. So
No, I'm so happy that this all worked out, and it really is a dream come true, because again, this competition has inspired me in so many ways. So many days of my life have been all about being inspired by Eurovision, and just to be a part of this little world now makes me so proud.
well, Johnny, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.